Hello there, and a very warm welcome to Love Audio. Now, if you're new here, you don't know me, my name is Paul Webber. Very good to be here this evening, and thank you for joining me. If you are new here, by the way, make sure you say hi in the comments, and I'll introduce you to the regulars. And regulars, please make the newcomers feel very welcome. Now, what's Love Audio Production all about? Well, I aim to offer beginners in audio production a very friendly, safe and fun platform on which to learn the basics together. So if you're on board with that, let's get into it, shall we? All right, plenty to get through tonight. First of all, though, let's say hi to some people. So hi to Rich Vibes, who's just joined us all the way from Exeter in Devon. The furthest away so far, though, is Whit Profit from Canada. Hello to you, sir. And Canada, that is, he says. Absolutely it is. And got up to something like 21 degrees today in Canada. That sounds unreal. That's amazing stuff. Well done. Pretty good. As I say, I don't think we got above 15 today, but I haven't ventured outside, so I couldn't tell you how cold or hot it currently is, which is pretty cool. Hi to Dan Woodward as well. Dan's in from Swindon in Wiltshire. In fact, correct me if I'm wrong, Dan. Hopefully you are there today and not somewhere else that I've kind of just made up. Now, today we're going to be talking about mic placement, and I've got six different microphone sources in order for us to test this evening. But I just wanted to kind of get everybody into the room first, let them kind of gather around and stuff like that, and we'll look at doing some interesting things with different placements of microphones. Microphone placement is very important, particularly if you are a voiceover artist or you're a musician and you're looking to place that microphone so it picks up the best volume as regards your voice, or if you're miking up a guitar, for instance, or a set of drums. Equally, very important to get that mic placement absolutely right, okay? And if you have any questions about tonight's stream, please do drop them in the comments and I'll do my best to answer them as we go through, okay? And if you're watching this on the playback, again, if you like any questions answered about mic placement and anything else you find interesting in the show tonight, please do address them in the comments box and I'll do my best to answer those for you. Hitesh, hello to you and a very warm welcome from London. Hitesh got us all involved in a fantastic greeting to his mum, who was 80, I believe, a couple of days ago. So he recruited us on a Zoom call. And again, we'll be addressing the kind of instruments that you can use whilst you're doing Zoom calls and Microsoft Teams, things like that. Perhaps there's Whereby you can use as well, and various other different platforms for going live. But yeah, he got us all together, and there must have been about 12 of us, I guess, in the room, and we each had to sing happy birthday to his mum, which is brilliant. And we had to hold up a piece of paper, and Hitesh very kindly kind of did the happy birthday thing across all of the pieces of paper that were in each of the windows. And I think his mum was pretty made up by it, judging by the video that I've watched today. So Hitesh, thank you very much for joining the stream this evening, much appreciated, and do hope you'll stick around and learn some things about mic placement. That's what today's subject is all about. So let's start with, I've got 6 microphones, as I say, in here tonight, believe it or not. One of them you can see behind me, which is normally in the booth, and I'll talk about that one in a second or two. But this is my main microphone, okay? And for those of you that want to know all about the gear that I use, you'll find it in the description of any of my live broadcasts and any of my replay videos as well, okay? Now, this is the Eikon C14 condenser microphone, okay? It's powered by 48-volt phantom power supply, which is being taken directly off the Studiolive desk, which is underneath the microphone, and we'll take a look at that via a different scene in a moment or two that I'm going to show you. But the condenser mic has what's called a gold spattered diaphragm in the center of the microphone pickup. And if I take this windshield, this is called a pop shield, and this is a designed one. Obviously, it's been printed on both sides for branding, which is pretty cool. But that's the interior, so it's kind of sponge lined. And then there's like a flock outside, which is what they do the printing on. This printing is slightly raised, so it's done on a machine, clearly. But you can have any logo, put onto your own mic muff. We call them a mic muff in the trade. And I think I got 2, I believe, for about 80 UK pounds, which doesn't, you know, it's not a great deal of money, but what I had to return one of them because on the printing they've got the E and the A slightly out of place. It wasn't kind of in line like it is now, so I had to return them. And yeah, they were okay. They replaced them pretty quickly, so you know it wasn't too bad. And I'm glad that I did say, you know, could you please replace these, because and you notice that if I've taken the pop shield off, now what you get is every time I say a P or an F, you hear that wind that's going across the microphone diaphragm. Well, that's what that prevents. Okay. Equally, you could have one of those circular windshield pop shields, which anchors to the frame that you've got your microphone suspended from, and that cuts down any wind going across that diaphragm. Now, if I turn this around, in fact, what I can probably do is, and you notice that it's not picking up my voice as much now. It's picking up the wind from the back of the diaphragm, but the main direction, and this is a unidirectional microphone, not an omnidirectional microphone, okay? Uni is one, so unicycle, unidirectional, one directional microphone. Omni is various directions, and we'll talk about that as we go through the evening today, okay, with various other microphones that we're showing you. But I don't know if you can probably see that very clearly, but if I try and zoom into that shot just there, give me 2 seconds, I'm just going to zoom in with the camera. We go as close as we can. I'll bring it down to that level there. Yeah, you can just see there's like a circular piece of metal inside the grill of that microphone, and that's the gold sputtered diaphragm that's picking up my voice. Okay, let's zoom out again. Just about there, and if I turn that around, you'll hear the difference automatically. Like from that, there's no good having a microphone like that because you can just hear the room sound. And this is not a particularly big room. It's a very low ceiling. I can touch the ceiling here, so it's a very low ceiling, and it's not a particularly wide room either. So it's quite good acoustically. It's got a carpet on the floor. The walls are soundproofed with the plasterboard on the top as well, and then painted, obviously, with the nice blue colour that you sometimes see in my shots. But what you need to do is, if you've got a very echoey room, so let's say for instance you're doing a live stream, or you're recording video, or you know you're taking part in a Zoom call, for instance, or you know any kind of conferencing like that, and you're using on screen, and you've got a microphone attached to either your camera or you've got a proper microphone like this, you want to get some soft furnishings in the room, either drapes or curtains, or just some soft fabric around you. I know voiceover artists, right, that don't have the luxury that I have, a voiceover booth behind that wall there, right, which is where I do the majority of my voiceovers from, using the microphone there, which I'll talk about in a moment or two. But I've known voiceovers that literally put a duvet over their head, okay, and then do the voiceover like that. Script is in front of them so they can see what's going on. Duvet is over their head, and then when they've finished, they take the duvet off and then do all the editing after that. And you know, you do whatever works. If it works for you and it works for your clients, then absolutely fine with that. And you know, some voiceovers, if they go on holiday, for instance, and they're in a hotel room, but they still want to do some voiceover work, they'll get the script in front of them on their laptop, perhaps, or whatever it might be, on a tablet, and they'll find a duvet, or they'll get some padding, or whatever it might be, pull the microphone out of the suitcase or whatever it might be, hook it up, and then do the voiceover there and then. So you just use what you have. And that's the beauty about, you know, making a room not necessarily soundproof, because that's a different thing to sound treatment. Soundproofing a room is making sure that my neighbours and anybody else in the house can't hear what I'm doing, okay? So that's where soundproofing comes in. But sound treatment is a different thing altogether. On the far wall over there, I've got some material like this. It's kind of spongy, and it's stuck to the wall, so it's like a tile, and that's also in the voiceover booth as well, and it's got some reflective angles on it, so when you speak, or any noise is reflected from those kind of angles, it doesn't bounce off the flat surface, for instance. So if I was to put my hand behind there, 22222, that's now preventing any noise getting past my hand, if you will, but also the microphone, because I've not got the windshield on it, is still picking up a lot of that sound. So we're talking about mic placement, and assuming you've got a windshield, either one of these or a pop shield, which is like a circular piece of gauze, like almost like tights material, if you will. Okay, and that prevents any pops from the P's and the F's that you narrate, that you speak when you're doing a script. Okay, very important. And if you want to be seen by the camera, then drop the microphone down slightly below your chin so that you're now talking over the microphone, but not too far away. If I was to place it down here, you can automatically hear that that's not a good sound to have. I could boost the volume and it would be absolutely fine, but that's kind of defeating the object. It's a good mic, so why wouldn't I want to talk into it and make it sound good? Okay, so I'm going to place it just there, center of screen, just underneath my chin. Okay, and then it picks up my voice pretty well. Now what you want to be is about kind of, if you do that with your finger and thumb, your little finger and your thumb, that's the kind of distance you want to be away from your microphone. Okay, from the actual diaphragm that we talked about earlier. So you got that? So between your little finger and your thumb, as far as you can stretch it, that's roughly how far you want to be away. Now I'll tell you why. There's a bit of science involved in this, okay? If I was singing into the microphone, okay, and I was this close, if I move backwards and forwards too much, you can hear the difference in volume coming backwards and forwards. Now that's an awful thing to have to edit when you get back to kind of post-production, all right? So if you're this far away and you're moving backwards and forwards, it's not quite so much of an edit. It's not quite so much of a decibel drop and raise. Does that make sense? Do let me know in the comments if this is making sense. And if you've got any questions along the way, then please do let me know. Let me just take a quick look at these, make sure I've not missed anybody. Christina's in the house. Hello to you, Christina. Nice to see you. Thank you very much for joining us. Hitesh says, Paul, do you have a link to see where we can buy the logo print on the mic? Will this fit over the Yeti mic? That's a very good question. I don't know the dimensions of the Yeti microphone, but if I do a quick search, give me 2 seconds while I bring up the website. For instance, I think it's called Foam Conversion UK Limited. Here we go. So it's a foam rubber supplier. Let me just click onto their website. And then we'll go to acoustic. And let me just go to my pip so you can see what's going on. So this is their website, okay? Let's find the home, and we should have microphone. Here we are, audio foams. So we click on audio foams, and you'll see a selection of microphone muffs there. We call them muffs in the trade. So any design whatsoever you can have printed onto your mic muff and then make it branded. So every time you're on camera, what you see is what you get. So that's a pretty good thing, isn't it? So this is foamconversion.com. F-O-A-M, foamconversion.com. Let me see if I can copy. I don't know if it'll let me do the thing, but I'll copy this and I'll try and put it into the chat for you. Just like this. Give me 2 seconds. That should be enough to go like that. And hopefully you should be able to see the link. So I hope that's useful for you, Hitesh. Do click on that. If you struggle, do let me know. But like I say, that's where I got mine printed from. And just say that Paul Webber from Love Audio sent you. It won't give you any discount or anything like that. And I'm not affiliated. Hashtag not sponsored. But there's a good chance that they'll look after you. That's all I'll say. Okay. And I can't remember the chap's name that runs it, but he's very, very informative, knows what's going on. And like I say, there was a slight issue with mine, so I returned it and I got an instant kind of replacement, which is pretty cool. All right. So I hope that helps. Let me just post that onto the chat as well, if that's any help to you. That should say HTTP. It's obviously cut off the first H, so my apologies for that. Oh, I know why. It's my fault. Sorry. I didn't scan all the way across. So let me go to copy and put that back in there for you. Hang on a sec. Paste. Let's sting that on there. Tom says, hang on a second. Let's cancel that. Tom says, hi Dad, just watching from on the walk back from the shop. Brilliant. Okay, good. Hope you're staying safe, son. And Hitesh says, that's great. Thank you. Will do, Paul. All right. So we're going to get on because I've got, like I say, 5 other microphones that I want to check out with you guys. All right, so let me go back to the main camera here. Now, so far, you've heard my voice, but I brought 2 friends along. Christina says, just bought a Yeti mic. Is it best to talk directly into it? Can I move the mic down towards my face? Again, without knowing the microphone, you're just going to have to play around with it and have a listen to it in your headphones, Christina, as to the best position for your microphone, okay? That's the only thing I can tell you about that. You just need to be able to practice with it, and if it sounds as good as this, then fine. If it sounds like it's down here, then clearly that's not going to work. Sometimes you can put them in from above, okay? And if you don't want them in shot, they can just be out of the way of your face, which is fine. And I used to do that as well, but I prefer having mine just here, which is fine. It's in view, which is cool because it's obviously advertising, so that helps. But yeah, you know, seriously, you can play around with whatever microphone you've got, and then find the best placement. But like I say, you want to be finger to thumb away from the main part of the microphone, unless you want to be right on top of it, in which case, you know, if you're doing quite an intimate read, for instance, you'd get nice and close, okay? But you don't want to be shouting at this level, because that's going to distort, that's going to make it peak when you're playing it back, and it'll peak when you're talking to your audience, okay? So roughly finger to thumb, little finger to thumb, distance away from the microphone itself, so like that. So if I do raise my voice, it's not peaking, okay? And if I want to get closer, and hey, come here, got a secret to tell you. Yeah? So that kind of works like that. Now we've done this microphone. I'm going to move over to the studio microphone now. This is the one that's normally in the voiceover booth, okay? So let's take that, mute it. Okay, so let me just zoom into this so you'll be able to see what's going on. This is the microphone that I'm normally voicing things like scripts and stuff in the voiceover booth, which is normally over there behind that wall, okay? That's the voiceover booth. So this, you can almost tell straight away that this is a warmer sound. Now this microphone is also a condenser microphone, okay? You see that? It's pretty dark behind there. Let me just put a bit of paper behind there so you can kind of see the mic, as it were. How's that? Okay? So if I put that there, you can quite clearly see the microphone. Now, this is a Marshall microphone, the guys that make the guitar amps and things like that, okay? An absolutely stunning microphone. I've had this microphone for over 20 years. Touch wood. It's never let me down, and it creates a much warmer sound than this one here on the desk, okay? But again, placement-wise, microphone-wise, you want to be about little finger to thumb away from the diaphragm. So when I'm voicing, let's say, for instance, a commercial, then I want to be that far away. I don't want to be this close because it's going to start popping and things, but the windshield, again, will help keep that down. So if I pop, you can hear a little bit of that wind, can't you? So if I pop, then you'll hear that bit. If you create the F sound, you don't want that F to make that peak on your wave file. Do you know what I mean? So again, it's about experimenting with the kind of sound that you can create with your own microphone. If I was way back here, the microphone sound, as you can tell, is really thin. It's got what I call a thin sound. And the problem with that is you lose a lot of the lower end. So you need to get a bit closer to get that bottom end into your sound. Okay? So I hope that demonstrates that particular style of getting closer to your microphone. And it works with every single microphone, but I'm going to try some other mics for you now. So you've heard this one, you've heard the normal desk mic, you've heard the booth microphone, which is this one. Give me 2 seconds. Okay, now we're going to try this microphone. Now, this is a DJ microphone, and it's a wireless mic, and I've got the wireless receiver here behind me. It's got 2 aerials on it, and it's being fed into the Denon, the DJ mixer that I've got, the DJ MC6000MK2, and then that in turn goes from the back of there, XLR cables, to the mixing desk, which is underneath here. Let me just switch to Droid Cam, and this is the studio desk that I broadcast through, okay? Next to the stream deck, all right? So this microphone here, it sounds completely different, doesn't it? Can you tell that? And it's also picking up mobile signals, because don't forget, wireless is not a good way to broadcast, if I'm perfectly honest with you, okay? Now, I've seen people with microphones. Hi, Sammy. You're going to love this because Sammy's got dozens of microphones as well. We're doing 6 mics tonight. We've already done the desk mic, we've done the booth mic, and now we're doing the handheld DJ mic, okay? The handheld DJ mic. So what happens with a lot of people who have microphones like this is they have it like this, okay? I've seen it 1,000 times. Hitesh says, would you recommend using both windshield and a pop filter together? No. No, it's a bit overkill, if I'm perfectly honest with you. So you only need one or the other, okay? One will do the job equally well as the other. Just don't have both, because otherwise, the more that's a weird sound, isn't it? The more things you put in the way of it, the more things you've got that can disrupt the signal flow, okay? But going back to my point about this particular microphone, Sammy says, I love mics. Yeah, I know you do. He's got a lot of mics. All right, listen, so I use a lot of SM58 on the drums. Yeah, no doubt. That's a really good way of miking up drum kits. So, but going back to this particular mic, I've seen people have their microphone on a stand, right? Like this, okay? Can you hear how thin that sound is? It's okay. It's not bad. I wouldn't use it for broadcasting, and I certainly wouldn't use it for, sorry, I might use it for live streaming, but I certainly wouldn't use it for a broadcast situation, okay? So I would suggest that that's the wrong way to do that. You're absolutely right. So because this is a dynamic microphone and not a condenser microphone, I'll show you the box. Hang on. So this is a vocal wireless system from AKG, one of the best mic systems you can get, to be fair. Really good. Got 2 of those in a pack. And there are mini sets. It comes with a little tiny receiver transformer, and it says for houses of worship, hotels and bands. So, you know, it's not meant to be high quality necessarily, but, you know, I use it when I'm DJing. So, you know, I'm talking to the crowd. There's a lot of noise going on. I'm trying to talk over the music as well, so all that kind of stuff. And it sounds really clear. And also, I can go within 50 meters of the microphone receiver and still talk as clearly as I'm talking to you now, okay? Which is pretty good. Sammy Superstar says, eat the mic. Yeah, if I do that, the minute you start eating the mic, it starts to distort, okay? Because it's just too loud. It's just too loud. You're too close to it. So you want to be, with a condenser mic, not a condenser mic, I beg your pardon, with a dynamic mic, you don't want to be as far away as you do with the studio mic. Do you see what I mean? So the difference is you're going to be this far away with the studio mic. That's between your little finger and your thumb stretched out, okay? That's the distance you want to look at. But this one, you want to be a little bit closer because it's got less of a pickup of range. So you're going to be closer to the pickup, which is just inside this metal head here. So I'll give you a close-up look at that. Okay. And if we can gently, I don't want to ruin this, but if I can gently remove this, I'll show you how it's made. I've got to be careful. There we go. Okay. So if you didn't have this, which is kind of a pop shield because it's got like a foam interior to that metal gauze. This one is the main pickup. Do you see that? Pretty good. Pretty good stuff. So without the pop shield on it, it sounds even worse because there's so much wind going over the top of that pickup. You see that pickup? That pops really loudly. Luckily, I've got a compressor on the system, so we're not peaking too much at your end. But you see what I mean? So once you put that on, oh, try not to cross the thread. Sammy says the SM58, you need to eat the mic for the best sound. Well, you do, and if you're a musician and a singer, yeah, you probably would. But you don't want to be distorting, so you want to play around with the levels on that to get it just right. I mean, here I've got a mic EQ, so I can drop the mid-range down. That sounds awful. Bring the mid-range back up. The high frequencies, which is the tinny stuff that you hear, I've just turned that up really loud. So I bring that down about 2 o'clock on the dial, if you know what I mean. And the bass, the low. So if I turn the bass up, that's going to be really, really too much bass. Do you see what I mean? So I back that off to about, again, 5, kind of 1 o'clock. If you're looking at a clock, it's kind of 1 o'clock, if you like. So that's where I kind of have it as well. I've got echo on here as well, all that kind of effects, which is fine if you want it. And I've also got ducking on here as well. So when I press the ducking button on the DJ section here, that will override the music that I'm playing. So I don't have to keep putting the fader up and down. Okay. So anyway, that's that microphone. Let's turn that one off. All right, so I'm going to go to a different angle now. So you've seen this one, which is coming in via NDI. We've also got a laptop on NDI as well, okay? So what I'm going to do is going to come over to the laptop, because I know a lot of people use laptops and, you know, for live streaming or that kind of thing. So we're going to head on over to the laptop and merge that, and hopefully that should yes, it should. Start off the microphone, and there's a slight delay, so I'm taking my headphones off so that I don't confuse myself when I'm talking. Now, if you're doing a Zoom call and the only thing you've got is the camera on your laptop and a microphone, which is here, listen. Hear that? That's a tiny little hole in the top of the laptop surround that's picking up my voice. Okay, nothing else in the room is connected to my voice right now, just the laptop. Okay, the picture's awful because it's 640 by 480. It's awful. The camera on the laptop is vile. I know, I get that. And the lighting is too bright in here anyway for this particular shot. However, I wanted to demonstrate that the reason you shouldn't use a laptop microphone when you're live streaming is this one reason. The microphone in a laptop is designed to pick up your voice from a distance. It's not designed for close work because it's not a broadcast mic, all right? It's picking up your voice from a distance so that the camera can pick up your framed face, and you can use it on a Zoom call, on a Microsoft Teams, Skype call, whatever it might be. So that's why the microphone on a laptop is not a good idea to use in a broadcast scenario, okay? Because it's just, the quality's not there. It's not bad. I mean, I can listen to that. And what I've got, by the way, let me show you. Let's bring that down there. You can now see my desktop, but I'm going to go right-click, sound settings, and scroll down here, you'll see the microphone. Okay, so here it is moving, all right? Device properties. Now what I've done is dropped it down to 65%. The reason for that is, listen, if I turn it up to 97%, I'm stood right back here, and it's really, really loud and distorted. So, if the only thing, what's that? I've got my phone on silent. How's that working? If the only thing you've got to use is your laptop, camera, and microphone, please go into the device settings and drop it down to about 65. Now you notice how the quality automatically gets better, and I'm still this far away from the laptop. Let me bring the camera back in and you'll see what I mean. I've not moved from where I was just now, okay? So I'm still probably, I would say, 1.5 feet away from the microphone, which is here. The camera is just here, by the way. So that's demonstrating, again, mic distancing, okay? You don't want to be right on top of it because you're too close and people will be looking up your nostrils, and you don't want that. So if the only thing you can use on a live stream, if you're a guest
on somebody else's stream perhaps, and this is all you can use, that's fine. But have the laptop so that you're positioned pretty much central, a little bit of headroom, around about there. You can get closer if you want. And of course, at their end, if they're doing the production, they can zoom you in and out as well. So that's really useful. Okay, going to turn this one off now. Turn around. All right, where are we? Let's have a look.
Okay, I think that's mute. It's good because I've got it on an automatic mute, so it mutes the laptop microphone when I switch out of it, which is really cool. It's on automatic, which is brilliant. Okay, let me try and catch up on this. So, yeah, the SM58, you need to eat the mic for the best sound. That's the last one I got from Sammy. Give me 2 seconds, Sammy. Let me just fire up that. So that's what he said on that one. And that's for the best live performance, he's saying. Okay, so there you go, for the best live performance. Sammy uses the AKG C1000s for overheads. Now, what an overhead microphone is literally what it says. You place it over the top of the drum kit that you're trying to mic up. Each of the drums has got a separate microphone next to it, probably. Next to the head of the snare drum, just underneath the snare, maybe on the top as well, or on the toms, on the cymbals. You know, there's quite a lot involved when you're miking up a drum kit. But like he's talking about the overheads. So these would be kind of microphones that are out of shot, if you like, but pointing towards the drum kit. They could be, and Sammy, you'll correct me if I'm wrong on this, but they could be what they call, not torpedo mics. What are they called? I can't remember the name of them, but you know what I mean? So those kind of long, thin, pointed ones that are actually unidirectional. So they're pointing downwards and they're just, you know, in one direction, if you will. So that's pretty cool. Now, what else was I going to show you? Okay, so let me have a look here. Droid cam. There we go. Okay. So on this particular shot, I'm going to turn, let's have a look here. I think, is that the microphone for that? I've got to be, yeah, FHD capture. That's the wrong one. So if I go to Droid cam, where are you, love? Tablet microphone. There we go. Right. Turning this one off.
And then I'm putting this one on. Now, where's this one coming from? Where do you reckon this one's coming from? Dan Woodward says shotgun. Yes, that's correct. Well done. I was trying to think of the name of it, Dan. Well done. Shotgun mic. So this is the tablet. Okay, microphone is at this end. Now, much better quality, and the camera's better on this one as well. So if you're going to go live with a tablet, again, position-wise, you want to get yourself where it should be, roughly, like that. And the microphone is now picking up my voice nice and clearly, and you can hear that nice and clearly at your end. Is that correct? You let me know in the comments. Okay, but the quality on this is far better than, where is it? The laptop down there. Okay, so yeah, far better quality image. You're getting a behind the scenes look here, by the way. But if I get closer to the microphone, it doesn't distort too much, but it's actually quite loud. Do you see what I mean? So I can back that off. That's about right. And you want to go central. And then, of course, the person that's interviewing you can zoom in and out and get you centralized in their production. Okay? So that's another microphone, and just giving you another idea of distance. Okay? So I'm going to put that back. A sort of sharp angle of the desk, which you don't normally see. Okay. So microphone is being muted on that one.
Sorry, there we go. You can hear me now. This is the studio mic. This is the desk mic that I'm using currently. Okay. And what I'm going to demonstrate now, and I've wired this up. I don't normally use this microphone, but I wanted to do that so I can demonstrate how it sounds in relationship to how far away it is. Okay. Again, mic placement. Where you place the microphone for the best performance is going to be trial and error. You need to kind of play with your microphone. Make sure you're facing the right direction of the microphone. So, for instance, we talked about the dynamic mic earlier on. Don't have it like that and talk this way. Pointless. The head's there, not there. It's there. So place it there instead, and you'll get a much better sound. Or, if it's powerful enough, have it up there so it's out of shot. But I prefer to have that like that. So I'm talking just over the top of it, but you can still see my face, right? And I'm not using this one, I'm using this one, of course, but you get the idea. So that's how I would talk about that as a dynamic microphone, okay? Let's turn that. It is off anyway, that's fine. But now I'm going to switch to the microphone that's on the camera, believe it or not. So here we go. All right. So again, there's going to be an echo in my headphones, so I'm going to turn the headphones off. But I'm just talking to you camera-wise. The microphone, if you listen carefully, all right, it's a stereo mic and it's built into the Panasonic camera. Now again, for distance, it's not picking up my voice too badly. I've got to be honest with you. I've not changed any of the settings inside the camera for the voice. What I've done is just brought into vMix, which is my software of choice, of course, and then just played with the, it's actually a little bit hot, isn't it? So I'm going to bring it down slightly as well. But, you know, the quality isn't too bad. So if it's the only thing you've got, and you've got a camera, and you've got a microphone built into the camera, and it's the only thing you've got to go live with, or to do a Zoom call, or maybe record somebody, or do an interview with somebody, then you know what? It works, okay? And distance-wise, the closer you're going to get to, I can't get too close because the desk is in the way, but if I get closer to it, obviously that's going to pick up more sound, and you might get some distortion. But the distance I am away from here now, I don't think that sounds too bad. You can hear the room, because that's the nature of the fact that it's away from my mouth, okay? It's not like this one, which is really close. Do you see what I mean? See the difference? It's there. It's not here, okay? So, yeah, the closer you can get to the camera, to the mic, the better. But if that's all you've got, it works perfectly fine. Just play around with the audio in your software. And I haven't added any EQ. I think I've got a noise gate on it, but that's all I've got. The noise gate, as we demonstrated before, I can demonstrate better on this microphone. So if I took the noise gate off, you can hear the hum from my gigabit Ethernet switch from below the desk, right? Which is down there somewhere. Closer we get to hear it. Can you hear that? Can you hear that? Okay. So we're going to bring you back up here. Turn the gate on. And automatically, all it does, it cuts out the background noise below a certain decibel level. Okay? And you can do that with most bits of software. vMix is very good. Each of the audio inputs, if you go into the cog settings, I can probably demonstrate this for you if I go to desktop, and then go across here, like that. If you go into any one of the audio inputs and click on the cog icon, you'll see that it's got plugins. I don't use any plugins on any of the vMix settings I've got. EQ, you can play with EQ, just enable it here on the tick box. And then you can play with the bass, which is the lower ones, the left-hand side. And don't forget, these are frequencies, okay? They all start at 0 dB. If you want less bass, so for instance, if I turn that down, that's getting rid of the bass notes. So it's really thin. You hear that? I've reset those. But if I want more treble, more top end, tinny at the top end, can you hear that? So you can play with the audio according to your own likings. Let's turn my desk mic off, and you can hear that now. But it's starting to distort. So I can reset that, and back to normal. It's got a compressor, I don't touch that. Got a noise gate, and it's about halfway. If I turn it off, automatically you're going to hear the rest of the room and any machinery that's going on, maybe somebody next door, all that kind of stuff. So I put the noise gate back on and keep it about negative 47 dB. Alright? So let's close that. Bring that back over there. And we are back to square one.
There we go.
Okay.
Okay.
So I'm
going to turn that off now. So that's the camera microphone.
Turning off now, and that stops that echo again, so we don't hear that twice. Because there's a slight delay between the signal getting from the camera through the mixing desk into vMix and all that kind of stuff. So you'll notice that. So how many have we done so far? So we've done this one, the booth mic, the handheld mic, the laptop, that's 4, the Samsung tablet, which is 5, and the camera, which is 6. Pretty good going, I think. And again, mic placement, very important to get that mic placed exactly where you need it in order to pick up the best sound. Sammy says, what mic are you using right now? Okay, so we were just on the one for the camera, so we've changed that, and the microphone now is this one, which is the Eikon. It's spelt Eikon, Eikon, and the model number is the C14, okay? C14. And I think it's modeled on a more expensive microphone. This was under $100, so it's modeled on a much more expensive microphone, I think, by another manufacturer. But they've done a really good job, and I love the sound that it creates. And that's why I use it in my live streams. So hopefully you like that as well. I don't have a link to it. I could try and find one. Give me 2 seconds and let me try and find a link to it. Get rid of that. Let's go there. And let's go for Eikon, Eikon C14. Bosh. Okay. Okay, they're available on Amazon. It's gone up. So 129 UK pounds. Professional large diaphragm microphone. Close that for a minute, and let's go to desktop, pip, and you'll see it there. So this is the microphone that I use, okay? Where are we? Why is it not showing the whole thing? There we go. So that's what it looks like, and it comes in its own box, like that. And it comes with the cradle as well, which is cool. And it doesn't come with the windshield that I've got here, obviously, okay? Need to buy one of those, or beg, steal, or borrow one, whatever works for you. But this is a professional large diaphragm studio condenser microphone. And it's currently unavailable, it says. Great. Let's have a look here. Who else is selling them? ProL are the people that make them. There we go. Eikon C14 condenser studio mic. All right. 4-year warranty on it. So that's the kind of confidence that they have that the microphone is going to be good. Sammy says that's a fabulous mic. Yeah. Sammy says I think they copied the name off the AKG 414. You know what? You could be right. I thought it was something a lot more expensive. So I'm trying to think of the brand. You probably know the brand. You probably got one yourself. Studio mics that have got like a letter and a couple of numbers after them, I think. Can't remember. But anyway, you get the idea. So it's a nice looking mic. It's a really nice looking mic, and the sound is brilliant. And you notice these buttons on there as well? That's got like a negative 10 dB, what's called a damper. Now, if you switch that on, it'll drop the volume for you by 10 dB. So if you're having problems with getting the balance right and getting the volume right into your own kind of software and stuff like that, you can drop that down to negative 10 dB, and that'll help. Okay. There's also another button on here, which rolls off the bass for you as well. So, like I'm talking now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If I click it, it automatically takes off the bottom end for you. So you don't have to worry about dropping the bass in your software. Okay. So put it back on, because that's the way I like it. And you bring that bass back in. So it's got a switch on it to automatically drop the bass for you. High pass filter. Okay. So I hope that helps. That's the kind of windshield that I was talking about earlier on. So that's the kind of standard pop shield that you get. It's on a gooseneck thing, and it probably attaches to your mic stand. That's pretty useful. Lol, I don't have the one you're thinking of. That's because I can't think of the name of it. What's the really expensive brand? Do you know, I can't honestly think of the name of it. This is this. It looks a bit technical, but this is the frequency response of the microphone. So it gives you an idea of what that did. Don't ask me. And this is the pattern. So we're talking about the fact that if I turn this around, it's not going to pick my voice up because the actual thing that's doing the hard work is at the front. All right, and that's the position of how the microphone pickup, if you like. Okay, the condenser bit is picking up your voice. So this is the shape that you'd see if you had it on a diagram like that. Okay, accept. Thank you very much. I could download that if I wanted to, but it's too technical for me. So you can see, like, if it's at 180, which is there, if I flip it around 180, that's not going to pick my voice up. You can still hear it because it's reflecting off everything else in the room, right? But if I flip it round, that's where you need the microphone to be. Neumann, Sammy, Neumann U87. Yeah, I think they kind of some of them they ripped off. I think anyway. I can't, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think they've kind of modelled the pickups and everything else on the Neumanns because it's the same kind of casing, it's the same ruggedness. It's not the same quality, and it's certainly not the same price because you'd pay £1,000 for a Neumann's, but for an Eikon C14, it's about 129 UK pounds. That's the price that we've just seen there. Okay, so I hope that helps with anybody that's struggling with mic placement. Okay, just get rid of some of these things here. Close that. Okay, let's have a look. What's Sammy saying? The AKG 414 is a very famous mic, and a lot of studios use it. Just refresh the page. Hang on a second. I wish he had a Neumann. Yeah, me too. The AKG 414 is a very famous mic. A lot of studios use it. You say that's right. It's absolutely right, and it is probably $1,000. Neumann, brilliant. And yeah, me too. It's you know, it's a wish list kind of thing, but it's not urgent. Don't need it right now, so we'll just kind of leave it there, I think. All right, so that's pretty much it on the mic placement stuff. What I wanted to do now is share some news with you. Okay. Now, I am a broadcaster. I've been broadcasting for 35 years on and off. And I had the pleasure of working at a radio station called Spirit FM. And they're in Chichester in West Sussex. Okay. What I'm going to do is, first of all, play you a short demo of my breakfast show that I did. And don't worry, there's no copyright music in it. There might be at the beginning, but it's about 5 seconds worth. And then I'm gonna play some slides of when I was at Spirit FM, so that you can see those as we're listening to the 3-minute demo. Okay, and then I'm going to talk about some news with you that is really quite interesting. Okay, so without further ado, let's get this on.
You're doing anything tonight? Well, funnily enough, yes, I am. Sorry about that, Daniel. Fully booked, mate. Sorry. However much I'd love to go out with you, I can't. I'm gonna be watching a belly dancer in a Mediterranean tapas bar in Bognor. Yeah, so
excellent.
Tough. How are you?
Good, thanks. How are you doing?
Yeah,
this morning?
good. Not too bad. Bearing up.
Bearing up under the circumstances.
Yeah, I've had a coffee and a tea and some chocolate. I think that's enough to cure the hangover.
Yeah. Well, that should get his sugar levels back to normal.
Just about. What have you been up to at the weekend then, darling? Can't you tell me?
Well, in fact, I was down in Portsmouth doing a little...
and you didn't come and see me?
Well, I was doing a little demo all day Saturday.
Yeah.
Well, I was sort of involved with some people down there who do... they cover the kind of Pompey games.
Oh, right, excellent, yeah.
And so they need someone as a reporter down there to cover them.
And you were there?
And they're looking for someone, so I'm going to get involved in it.
Fantastic.
What are you doing?
I'm tapping, sorry.
Away?
I'm just, writing some emails. Carry on.
Right. Well, are you sending something off to the press or something?
Good grief, no, I think they've got hold of that already. No, so you're going to be reporting on the Pompey old matches, aren't you?
Yeah, that's the plan in about a sort of month or so. Yes, yeah. So it'll need a bit of training, I'm sure.
Fantastic.
And I had to say to them, I don't really know very much about football. And I said, look, I'm really obviously happy to learn, as quickly as I can.
Absolutely,
I'll be absolutely honest with you. I really don't know a great deal about it. So I don't know whether any of your listeners are sort of avid football fans. But if they are,
don't get them started. I'll end up with 15,000 phone calls this morning about football and the offside rule. Great.
Yeah. Any sort of rules or regulations, any sort of tips they may have on the best kind of, kit.
Yeah, we got a phone line. It's started already.
It hasn't.
Yeah, it has. The lights are flashing like a Christmas tree. Unbelievable. You see, you just utter one word, football, and they're there, aren't they? That's fantastic. I will get to you in a minute. I can't be bothered to answer it. Sorry about that.
Oh, no, don't say that.
No, they've gone now.
Oh, no. Well, they must have heard you saying you weren't going to answer it.
No, well, I'm busy, and you've got to do travel, so, they have to wait.
Right.
And we'll find out what they wanted in a moment or two.
So what happens when I say, and they're coming towards the goal, and it's all go? And then
you'll be
not
giggling.
happening.
You'll be giggling. You know what you're like.
I won't be giggling. I have to take on a serious kind of serious a voice for that.
You do, don't you?
Yeah, I do have to. Don't you think?
I think it'd be good actually. A football commentator, a female football commentator, would be actually.
It. There is a fellow who's doing the commentating, and I'd be doing the kind of interviews. I think with some of the
nice.
players
Yeah,
and
no,
stuff.
that is good. Yeah.
Sort of footballers' wives and that sort of thing.
No, not footballers' wives. That's a video. Well, this is in my collection anyway. Right, 18 minutes to 8 at Spirit FM, and more travel news now with Samantha Toomey at AA Roadwatch.
Well, we've got good average speeds on the A259 from Feltham into Chichester. Samantha Toomey, AA Roadwatch.
Spirit FM, traffic and travel. Brought to you with Yeoman's Honda. Successful cars for successful people.
Love Audio.
So I hope you enjoyed that. That was a short demo of my radio days back in 2002. So quite a long time ago. 18 years ago? Blimey. And Sammy says, what microphone did you use for the radio thingy? I think that was a Neumann's, to be fair. I think it was a U87. I can't be sure, though. I can't remember because obviously the muff was over it and I couldn't really see it from that particular picture that I showed you. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed that. Just a quick snapshot of my career back at Spirit FM. I was at the breakfast show for just over 3.5 years. Thoroughly enjoyed the area as well. It was really, really good to be there. And yeah, thoroughly enjoyed it. Now, the kind of bad news, let's do the bad news first. Spirit FM was taken over by the same company that took over the station that I was working for up until July the 31st of this year. And so a lot of disappointed people in the Spirit FM listening area have decided to get together and launch a new station on DAB, Digital Audio Broadcasting, DAB platform, starting next year. And I just want to show you a let's have a look if I can get that up for you. This is the press release that they sent to Radio Today, which is an online magazine, radiotoday.co.uk. You can see this at any time. It's open to the public, I believe. You can subscribe to it, of course, and be notified for any news that comes up with regards to radio here in the UK. But this is V2 Radio. So these are my ex-colleagues. That's Peter. There's Nick there as well as Neil. And there's Ian. And a couple of other people I don't quite know. They came along kind of after I left, I think. But they've got together again because they used to work at the same station, okay? So they've got together and they're launching V2 Radio to fill the Spirit FM gap in West Sussex, which is an area in the UK. And they're going to be launching next year to kind of fill that gap that's been left. Spirit FM recently rebranded to Greatest Hits Radio, and some of its former presenters are part of the new service. Now, Ian, Neil, Nick, Millie, Steve, Gary, Peter, just some of the people that will be on air from January. And not only that, but they've asked yours truly to be the male station voice for V2 Radio. So how cool is that? So I'll be doing the liners, so V2, and I've got no script, by the way. They're going to send me the script in the next few days. But I wanted to share that news with you. So, yeah, from kind of next month, I'll be getting those produced, I expect. The script should arrive hopefully in the next couple of weeks and getting them done for the station. So I'll be the male voice. There'll be a female voiceover as well that'll do the station idents with me. And the first couple of scripts are looking about 60 lines of text that I need to voice, which is fine. And then they're going to use me every month, according to whatever sponsorships come along and that kind of thing. So I just wanted to share that with you, and a little bit of good news for a change in an ever-changing world. God, you're not wrong. So yeah, it was good to kind of get that information today. So thanks to Peter and the team, to Neil and to Ian and to Nick, a million everybody else. Thanks so much for choosing Paul Webber as your voiceover artist for the launch of V2 Radio. Really looking forward to that. And of course, with my viewers on the stream here, the live stream, I will of course be sharing some of that with you as we go through the journey and voicing some of those things as they come along. Okay, so that's brilliant. Thank you so much, and really, really pleased. It's almost out of time. We're almost out of time, in fact. 8:55 to 9. Let's do this, shall we?
It's the Jingle of the Week.
Makes me laugh every time I hear that. Okay, so Jingle of the Week. Whit says, congratulations, Paul. Good news. Thank you very much indeed, Whit. That's very kind of you. Sammy says, will this be your new job? No, good grief, no. It's just a freelance voiceover job that has come in, which is pretty cool. But I'm really honoured to be able to do it. And as I say, I'll be updating you guys on the live stream as to, when we go forward and do the scripts itself. They've given me permission to share that news with you, which is pretty cool. And Peter, either Peter or Ian, I'm not sure which one it'll be, but they'll be coming on the stream maybe next week, maybe the week after, to talk about the launch of the station and how it's come about. So that'll be really interesting if you want to kind of know all about that. This is where I should have put a card up there somewhere to say tune into that. But I don't know when it's going to be yet, so I can't put that up there because I don't want to promise you something, okay? Which is pretty cool. Hitesh says, nice one, Paul. Congratulations on that. Thank you very much indeed. Really, really pleased about that. Let's have a look here. Making sure I caught up with all the things. You're going to be a part of it. I'm going to be a part of it, yeah. Separate the A and the part. I'm going to be a part of it, which means I'm going to be on air every time they play a jingle, which is great. So, this is my voice. This is my voice. Brilliant. So, Jingle of the Week. As always, we like to play a jingle from the producers at Jam Creative Productions Incorporated in Dallas, Texas. So it is my great pleasure to play you a jingle that I had produced for my 50th birthday. So 4 years ago, I had the pleasure of visiting Jam Creative Productions in Dallas in their studio, and sent them a script literally the day before. And they said, well, you know what? We've got a session tomorrow. Why don't you come on down and take a look and see what happens? And I was lucky enough to go there and see these jingles being sung in front of me. Just amazing stuff. Really was. Okay. So I'm going to play you a little montage. The jingle itself is a 1980s jingle. Started off in America on a station over there. Then it was used by a station in the UK, which was the UK's #1 station, Radio 1. Radio 2 is now our UK #1 station, funnily enough. But anyway, and then, of course, it was done from ourselves, and countless other DJs and radio stations around the world have used the same jingle. It's from the package called Flamethrower, and so I'm going to play you this demo now. Here we go. Following our recent trip to Dallas, I thought you jingle geeks would like to know the origins of the jingle that we had made. This is from Flamethrower, and this is how it started out back in 1985. Rocking at the speed of light, the hot rockin' C100. It was then adopted by Radio 1 in around 1987, 1988. Rocking at the speed of sound, Radio 1. And then in 2016, it was produced for yours truly. Playing all your favorite hits. Have a great night, DJ Paul Webber.
The Flamethrower from Jam Creative Productions, Dallas, Texas.
C100.
And that's this week's Jingle of the Week. Thanks to Jam Creative Productions for all of the fantastic work that they do. John and Mary Lynn over there in Dallas in Texas. Okay, quick question there from Hitesh. Says, just a quick question. I wanted to have the mic out of frame. Where would you recommend to place it? Currently, I have the mic just above my monitor and DSLR camera, about an arm's length away. Hitesh, it's too far away. It's too far away. If you want it out of sight, do this. Okay, if it's on an arm like this, I'm assuming it's on some kind of arm. If it is, that's fine. If it's if you've even got a desktop tripod for it, then again you could place it on your desktop here and nobody would see it. All right, it would probably be, I don't know what mic you've got, but it'll probably be there where this is. Do you see that? I don't know. Maybe it is. What I would suggest though, if it's on an arm like this and you don't want it in sight, just drop it to about there. It's not ideal because look, the quality's not going to be there. The closer you get to your microphone, and that's the whole idea of today's stream, the closer you get to your mic, the better it's going to sound. You've noticed that David from Live Streaming Pros has his in shot about there, okay? And he's got a much better arm than I have. He's got one of those kind of sealed ones, which is really cool. And they're much more flexible. And this has only got like two directions. But he's got his about there, and he's got the settings so that it picks up his voice nice and clearly. Okay, you can still see your face in frame. It's not being interrupted by anything. I can still reach my keyboard. I can still reach the mixer. I can still reach the speakers. I can still reach everything around me. Okay, so it's not in the way, but it's almost out of sight. If I had it completely out of sight, I'd sound like I was just shouting in the room, and that's pointless for me. I'm an audio engineer, so I need to have that audio quality. Okay, so I would definitely I need to ask the question, why don't you want it in shot? That would be my next question, really. Why don't you want it in shot? He says yes, it's on an arm. Brilliant. Okay, well you can place it even if you had it to the side, if you like. Hang on, I can't really get mine out of shot. Oh, sorry. But if I face it towards me, it's there, and you can still hear me, and I'm facing the camera, but it's in shot, so that's no good for you. Okay. But again, like I say, if I have it down here, the arm for me is still in shot, and that obviously isn't what you want. But certainly, if you're not bothered about it being in shot, I would have it here, so that people can still see you. They see the nice shirt that you wear, Hitesh, and I know you're a very smart dresser, so that's pretty cool. You know, so have it in shot. Nobody cares. Nobody cares what you've got in shot, really. It's just your personal preference, to be honest with you. If you asked 20 of your viewers, do you think my mic should be in shot or not? I'm not going to guarantee it, but probably half of them would say it really doesn't matter. We're just here to hear your voice, to see your face, to see what you're presenting. If it's in the way of a presentation, then I get that. But then you'd create a different slide that goes over the top of that, and maybe have your picture in picture somewhere, so that they can still see the presentation, but they don't see the microphone. Okay. So, you know, if I've got my pip on, for instance, like this, okay, you can see I've got it out of shot. You can't see the mic in the pip, can you? You can just see my I Love Audio t-shirt, just about. All right. And if I step back a bit, I'm more central to the pip anyway, and I could, you know, I should be there, and that's my fault for not. All right, okay. I'm gonna do it live. I'm do it live. It says I just thought it looked cleaner without gadgets everywhere. Yeah, but you know, people know you've got a microphone, so don't hide it necessarily just because you think it's untidy. If it's a nice looking mic, you know, if I take this off, it's quite a nice looking mic. So, you know, I don't even have to have the windshield on if it's down there, because it's picking up my voice nice and clearly. But if I face downwards and say the word P or F, you can hear that wind. That's where you need a windshield. Like that. That stops the P's and the F's. You can hear it a little bit, but I'm talking downwards over the top of the diaphragm. So, you know, for me, there is fine for me, but it might not be fine for you. So bring it down to about there, so you can just see it in shot, and then you'll be fine. That's my personal opinion. You know, if that helps, I hope it does. Yeah, so it's been a pretty busy show today. Really enjoyed your company. Thank you so much for taking the time to come and watch what I'm doing here today. We're looking at mic placement, so we're looking at how far you need to be away. That's the golden rule if you're looking at a condenser mic. So between the little finger and the thumb, about that far away, okay? No closer. If you want to get closer and more intimate, that's fine, but then lean back out again, and you're about right. So you can talk to the camera and everything's where it should be. Do you know what I mean? If it's a dynamic microphone shaped like this kind of thing, then there is where you need it, just underneath. You can actually rest it on the bit between your lip and your chin. You can rest it there and talk over it, okay? Don't have it like that. That's pointless. If I see anybody doing that, I will slap you. I'm only kidding. But don't ever do it like that. That's just ridiculous. I've seen people do that on streams, and it looks ridiculous. The actual head that picks up the main sound is there. Not there. There. So it needs to be like that, all right? Talk into it. And if you really want to get close, you can do, but get yourself a pop shield for it to go over the top, okay? You can buy smaller ones, not necessarily like that, because I don't think that, although, well, it does fit over there, but it looks a bit ridiculous. It looks like it's like I'm doing hang on, let's put it on, in fact. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so this is the microphone. This is the handheld microphone. It's not particularly brilliant sounding. Okay, so I can bring some more treble up. 2, 2, 2, 1, 2. But you're going to get hiss then. You hear that? That's not too bad actually, is it? Mid-range is that one there. So that's your mid-range. It makes it sound like a radio. You can drop that down. Sounds awful. I normally have it about 1 o'clock. And then the bass, as I say, if you put more bass on, it's going to sound awful. But if you have less bass, it's going to sound really tinny. So you bring that up to about 1 o'clock again. And then bring the top end down to about nearly 2 o'clock, I guess, because I like a bit more treble on mine. But that's with a windshield on it. You notice I'm not talking like that. If I was, you can hear it automatically, a drop in volume. Do you know what I mean? So if you have it like that, you're talking across it. So it's going to be the best position for that kind of microphone, even with the windshield on it. And it stops that popping. Okay, so quick slurp of tea. And it is decaf tea, Christina, before you say anything. So there we go. Hang on, back to the main mic. Okay. So many microphones here tonight. What's going on? So listen, guys, thanks so much for joining me. Much appreciated. And if you're watching the playback and you still have more questions about mic placement, please do drop them in the comments and I will do my best to answer them. Hatish says, thanks, great, really helped me. Thank you. You're very, very welcome. And Whip Profit from Canada also says, thanks, Paul. Great show. You guys, take care of each other. Please do stay safe. UK is currently on lockdown 2.0, as we're calling it. So that means we can't go anywhere unless it's for essential things. So please do stay safe. If you want to support the channel in any way, you can hop on over to my Patreon page. If I can find the button for it. There we are. It's patreon.com/Love Audio Production. Okay. That's a really good way to support me if you'd like to. Alternatively, of course, you can subscribe. Make sure that you click the reminder bell as well. That will let you know when I'm posting new videos. And generally, it's every Monday night at 8 p.m. But occasionally, I'll throw another one up there if I think it's worth it. Okay. So, and if there's a subject that you want me to cover in a future stream, please, again, do let me know in the comments, and I'd be delighted to help you out with that, okay? So, that is pretty much it. Thank you so much again for joining me, and we're going to play it out with our usual thing, the outro. Thanks very much indeed to everybody, and I'll see you all soon.